The command to start was given, yet before the first strike fell, she had already finished the fight. Beginning, the arena of tomorrow. The great arena was alive with sound, a rolling thunder of thousands who had come to see blood, spectacle, and the demonstration of power. Above, the roof panels shimmered with holograms of the combatants' names, their homeworlds, and their betting odds. Lights flashed in gold and crimson, bathing the steel floor in heat. The tournament was known as the Trisector Trials, a contest where the fiercest fighters from across the outer systems clashed for prestige, citizenship rights, and fortune. To win meant to step into the histories of 3 empires. To lose meant to vanish into obscurity, sometimes permanently. Lyra stood at the edge of the arena floor, her shadow stretching across the plating. She was slender compared to the hulking warriors around her, men bred in gravity wells, mercenaries carved from iron, cyborgs whose veins pulsed with synthetic fuel. The crowd glanced at her and scoffed. Her betting odds sat near 0. But Lyra didn't come for odds. She came for proof. From her childhood on the mining colony of Valeth, she had carried something the others lacked, a secret. A gift whispered through her lineage, one she had learned to master in silence, away from the eyes of those who would brand her an abomination. And now, on the galaxy's grandest stage, she would show them all. The instructor, an augmented soldier with a voice like rolling metal, stepped into the center. His chest armor bore the scars of decades, and his cybernetic eyes scanned the fighters like a predator among prey. "Combatants," he barked, voice echoing through the chamber. "Take your positions." Lyra walked calmly forward, her bare feet making no sound. She bowed her head slightly, eyes half closed. Across from her, a monstrous gladiator raised his plasma axe, grinning through sharpened teeth. The crowd roared in anticipation. The instructor raised his arm. "Begin." And before the first strike fell, it was already over. Middle, the fight that wasn't. The gladiator lifted his axe, muscle and cybernetics straining in perfect coordination. His weapon shimmered, a beam of contained energy designed to cleave through starship armor. He took one step, just one, before collapsing to the ground, weapon clattering. A hush fell over the arena. The other combatants blinked in disbelief. The instructor's metallic eyes narrowed. The crowd murmured, confused by what had just unfolded too fast for sight. Lyra stood still, arms at her sides, her breathing steady. The gladiator groaned on the floor, his limbs stiff, his body unresponsive as though frozen in time. The instructor barked, "What trick is this?" "No trick," Lyra replied softly. Her silver eyes gleamed. "Only control." The crowd's confusion turned into gasps as another warrior, a cyborg with blades for arms, lurched forward, enraged. He too collapsed before crossing the floor, his body locking in paralysis. One by one, the fighters realized the truth too late. She was dismantling them not with strikes or weapons, but with something faster, something unseen. Lyra could move within microseconds, faster than nervous systems could register. While they heard the word begin, she had already stepped into action, disabling them all before their weapons rose. To the crowd, it was instantaneous, almost magic. And indeed, it was more than speed. It was time itself bending at her will. Revelation, the gift of silence. The announcers scrambled to explain, but none had the language for it. They called it trickery, sorcery, unnatural. Lyra ignored them. Her gift had begun as a curse. As a child on Valeth, she discovered moments where everything froze except herself. Falling stones from a mine collapse paused midair. Voices slowed to distorted echoes. She alone could move, racing between seconds as though the universe had left her a hidden doorway. She learned to control it, first by accident, later with intent. But her people whispered of the chronarchs, ancient beings exiled for meddling with the river of time. Anyone displaying such abilities was marked dangerous. So she hid until today. Now, as the last fighter fell silent on the arena floor, she released her hold. Time snapped back. To the audience, the fight had lasted no more than a blink. The instructor raised his hand, caught between outrage and awe. Combatants rise. None could. They lay sprawled, alive but utterly defeated. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Then, like thunder, applause erupted, wild, disbelieving, hungry applause. Lyra bowed her head, not in arrogance, but in acknowledgement. She had not come to entertain. She had come to be seen. Rising conflict, the Empire reacts. After the match, Lyra was escorted to the victor's chambers. The hall buzzed with reporters, drones flashing, officials murmuring about anomalies. The trials were designed to test strength, endurance, cunning, but she had ended it before it began. Soon, whispers turned into orders. The Trisector Council summoned her. She stood before towering officials draped in robes, their faces hidden behind holographic masks. Their voices layered together like a chorus of judgment. "You possess a forbidden power," they intoned. "Time manipulation is outlawed. It destabilizes the balance of war. It threatens the foundation of law." Lyra's jaw tightened. "I possess no weapon. I only moved when you told me to begin." "You ended the fight before it started," they said. "That is not combat, it is annihilation." The council deliberated. Some demanded she be executed as a chronarch. Others argued she could serve as the council's greatest weapon. Lyra listened in silence. She had faced this before. Fear disguised as law, envy wrapped in judgment. She had shown herself to the galaxy, and now the galaxy wished to either own her or erase her. But she was no one's slave. Climax, the escape. They tried to cage her. A containment field sealed around her, humming with anti-psionic dampeners. Guards with shock batons stood ready. The instructor himself entered, his cybernetic eyes glowing. "Girl," he said gruffly, "you've stirred a storm you don't understand. The council won't let you walk free." Lyra met his gaze. "Then I will not walk. I will run." And with that, she bent time again. The guards froze mid-stride. Electricity crackled in suspended air, sparks hanging like tiny suns. The instructor's eyes widened, his systems lagging under her manipulation, but even he could not keep pace. She stepped past them all, calm as a shadow. Through the council chamber. Through the locked doors. Through the city streets beyond, where crowds still chanted her name without knowing she had already slipped away. Only when she reached the edge of the spaceport did she release her hold. Time roared back, alarms blaring, guards shouting in confusion at her vanished form. Lyra boarded a freighter bound for the outer rim. The galaxy would brand her outlaw, chronarch anomaly. Let them. She was done hiding. Ending. The legend begins. Weeks later, stories spread across the stars. Some claimed she was a fraud. Others swore she was death incarnate. Gamblers cursed her for ruining the trials. Young fighters whispered her name like a prayer. Lyra, the one who finished the fight before it began. In quiet corners of space, resistance groups sought her, believing she could tip the scales against empires. Scholars hunted for evidence of chronarch.